We are back from what we characterize here at Hudson Land. We were at Kurt Hudson's house for approximately 4 days. A trip there, trip back. Kurt had some medical issues, and as a brother in arms, we went and supported him and his family. So we've been off playing. Now, this seemed like an uncertain turn how it was going to work out. And why is that? Well, the German event was to get some Ost units. Well, they have no dead Ost units off maps, so that's no good. The Soviets had a UPA event, which meant that the Ukrainian partisans were more friendly towards the Soviets this turn, under their control. Okay, and Death to Fascists. Well, Death to Fascists didn't really work for us because it would have meant trying to attack German units or Hungarian units, and we're really not strong enough to do that. So, sort of iffy. We managed to get only 4 hits this turn. It again, wasn't a very good turn that way, and I'm looking at the thing saying, this is going to be a near-run thing to try to get a victory. Didn't see how it was going to happen, except the UPA down here, down in this region, managed to get 2 hits. So instead of only having 64 points at the end of this turn, it went to 66. And I should note, right here, we know that it's turn 6. Now the Germans had a fairly decent turn in kills, and let me arrange those here. You can see me kind of arranging. Not a great number, but as the Soviets only got 3 this turn, that's a sufficient number, so that's a good turn. So at the end of turn 6, the Soviets still look to be in the lead and still look like they're going to win, but I think it's going to be closer than originally thought here. As always, what do we say? Something like thanks, right? Indeed. Thank you, folks. Turn 7. The Soviets only advanced 1 region. Well, that seemed pretty good for the Soviets. Or maybe not. But the critical element in this turn was that although 3 partisans died, 2 German units died. They were both regular units. That's 4 victory points for the Soviets. The Soviets didn't have a great turn otherwise. They got a total of 2 hits on the collectives, so they failed on that mission. Got no extra points. But because they already had built up such a lead, they reached 75 this turn. The Germans, well, it was an okay turn. The UPA decided to come back again, this time on the German side. No real impact. And that, man, the Germans needed a break there. And the Soviets didn't get any great breaks, but they continue to plod along well enough here. You can see areas, collective hit. Actually, I got 3 collective hits. But here in the center, again, the marshes make it tough. And the Germans said, well, let's try and react this turn. Rather than just going for combat, let's try and react, keep forces in place, tamping down the resistance. And that worked pretty well, but losing the 2 units, and it's the first time they'd lost any units in a while, might have been the game changer. So what does that mean going forward? Without saying what sounds like the same things all the time, I can't foresee here, but the game's already over in that terms. But we'll play it out to see what happens. Don't have an optimal German strategy yet. The Soviet is you just keep nicking away at places. The Germans have to kill, I think, early on big, and they have to get 2 or 3 of the anti-partisan drives with the extra units, with these extra bandit yellow units to really break out. All right, folks. Again, turn 7. We should be able to finish this game up tomorrow for AAR number 2. Thanks. Okay, folks, let's engage in a little fun alt history here. Let's say that in 1996, David glanced into Soviet archives of the Russian Federation, discovered an order from Stalin that in preparation for the summer offensive, maximum effort would be made. In addition, there was a scrawl at the side that looked like the boss's handwriting saying, "This will be useful to rid ourselves of possible reactionaries and partisans who have been afflicted with capitalists and perhaps double dealing with German soldiers and officers of the Prussian officer class. However many we lose will only be good for the Rodina post-war." Now, would that have been a possibility in real life? You betcha, because he was as paranoid as could be when he's still arresting officers on the drive to Berlin for disloyalty. Well, now you can see we had 5 markers left for a total of, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Correction, but 1 was a 2-point hit. So we have a total of 5 victory points for rail war. Barely a win. The Germans had an exceedingly good term here. They killed 9 partisan units. This is what the Germans needed to do all along. The Germans still remained strong and received this turn, and I'll pull them back off the board here. I'd put them back over here. All these units here were a significant help in quelling the rear area disturbances. So, good turn for the Germans, good enough turn for the Soviets. We're heading down to the end. At this point, turn 9 is superfluous, but let's see what happens. Enter the game, turn 9. I had originally contemplated not playing it, saying, the Soviets have already won. Well, I don't want to play it. There's nothing left to prove. And I said, well, kind of curious to see how it could play out at the end and if the Soviets hadn't won. So, of course, what I did with the partisans to give a head fake to the Germans, I concentrated down in this region because, of course, Army Group Center is going to be attacked up here. So this is the Mastrovoka. I probably screwed it up. In fact, I know I screwed it up. But to try to determine where things would be here. And the Soviets got some more points. They did okay, but if they did like this through the whole game and hadn't got those 2 big rail wars, they would have easily lost this game. They could have easily have lost it. We got this time, it hurt the Germans, no event. Granted, again, the Germans already lost, but they had a no event. The Soviets had spies, which didn't really help much, and it was rail war. So we went after the rails, didn't do very well, only got 3 points worth of rail this time. Killed 2 German units, which was unusual. I'm not certain why we killed more German units the last several turns, but I know I'm the developer and I'm supposed to say laudatory things about it. Well, I'd say the laudatory things about it if Ty had merely asked me to look over the game, and if Javier had also not talked to me about the game. I found this a refreshing game to play because it was so much different, and in fact, I'm so enthused about it. the Partisan game for Yugoslavia, which I was probably going to play, after I'd played every other game just about I played, has moved up quite a bit in the game play for me. So, I'm going to recommend this one heartily, not just because I worked on it, but because it is a fine piece of work, folks. So, hope you have a blessed evening. Hope you have a blessed time while reading this. Thank you as always, folks.